Hi everyone, my name is Maureen and I'm here to talk about remote working, how to learn remote roles, what bottlenecks you might be experiencing, and the tips to overcome these things as you look for a remote work. So, I want to dive right into this video. As the title suggests, it's about why many Africans struggle to land remote roles despite being qualified, number one, skilled and experienced. So I'll go right into the points. And the first one is your resume or CV. So you have to keep your CV tailored to 1 or 2 pages and make it tailor-made for that particular job. So if your CV is off and it has a weak, disposition of who you are, it just generalizes your achievements or your work experiences, you have to go into details into that CV, but as well as make it 2 pages maximum. So you can, for example, say, since I'm an accountant, I can say I minimized AP workload by 60% by creating automation processes for invoice matching and booking and payments. Henceforth, I increased the efficiency of payments in AP. So that one shows the client or the employer that you did something and this was the output. So you have to make sure your CV is strong and very much tailor-made. And the next point is actually communication gaps. As Africans, oh my God, I have to emphasize on this. Come closer, because communication gaps has easily made some people miss out on opportunities. Why? Because number one, you are not naturally a stammerer. Why are you stammering in the interview? That shows you were not prepared, you did not research, you did not practice interview questions and answers. You need to be very clear in your communication. If you're not available, make sure they are aware. Your emails have to be well thought out and written in detail. If it's English, most people when they're hiring Africans, they specifically say has to be fluent in English or working language of English. That is, you are able to speak English in a work capacity. You don't have to be fluent, but the communication has to be very much okay, because these are people who are coming from English speaking countries and they will need to communicate in English. So if your English is poor, can you start practicing? Go to Grammarly, go to Prepla and practice talking English. You can practice. There are tons of resources and YouTube videos that you can learn English and be able to, position yourself as an English speaking person despite being from an African background. So professionalism that is brought out in English is very important in remote working as an African. And then the next point is actually limited online presence and branding. So if I search for you in LinkedIn, will I find you? If I search for you in Fiverr or Upwork or Indeed, will I find your profile? Clients do background checks. So it's not only the social media presence, your professional branding and networking has to be very visible. So if you're obscure to the person who is hiring you, it means that you are more so like a ghost, because they need to see how you relate online. They need to see the kind of positioning you have placed yourself, your worth in LinkedIn, in Upwork. So just make sure you are positioned well in LinkedIn. The next issue that we have as Africans missing out on remote working opportunities is interview and video call etiquette. So, for example, if you look at my background, it's quite neutral. There are no distractions. There are no people moving behind me. There are no pets coming to jump on me, or just things happening around me that are distractive. So, what's your interview etiquette? How are you dressed? Are you dressed funny, like in, you know, shagala bagala and you're showing up for an interview, that you are applying for being a manager or a social media assistant, that your personal branding and grooming and etiquette is very key. So during the interview, what kind of things are you saying? What kind of things are you telling them? Are you lying to them that you are a South African whereas you're a Nigerian? What's the etiquette that you have during the interview? Do you just walk off while the person is speaking to you? These things count. So you need to know your interview times, prepare for the interview, dress up for the interview. It is as much as an interview as the one that you go physically. There is no difference, trust me. You will do all those written interviews, the online interviews, the speaking interviews, and they will make sure that they scrutinize every detail about you. So even during the interview, it's a time to showcase your etiquette, your interview know-how to answer the questions practically. And then number two, in this interview and etiquette on the video, don't lie. I have said it before. Why are you saying you're a Kenyan when you're a Nigerian? Do not lie. Don't start saying I stay in Kenya but I'm originally a Namibian, but they wanted a Kenyan. That's why you say you are trying to lie to them that you are Kenyan. But you see, there are some things that will come into play. There's a reason they want a Kenyan. Probably someone else in another country, the country has not enabled access to some websites. So they need someone of Kenyan descent because maybe they have researched and they have seen in Kenya, Kenyans can access ABCD kind of website for our work. So if you lie, it could just come and bite you in future. So if your setup is poor, there are distractions around you, like for example, the light should shine on your face, not against your face. So they should be able to see you in full as a person, from end to end. No obscurities, no shadows, no unstable connectivities. For example, you keep freezing, your face keeps freezing on the spot during the interview. That might lower your chances of landing that job, because remember, you are competing on a global scale. What if the other person's interview connectivity etiquette is top notch, yet they are less skilled than you are? But because of your connectivity, the distractions around you, poor lighting, the surroundings, how you dress, how you look, the everything about you just gives them a poor impression about your work, because many people look on the outside. Before they can give you a work or a project, they look at you as a person. How you present yourself is how you represent your work. Yes. And then the last one is applying without strategy or networking. Let's take a moment and pause. Applying without strategy and without networking. So you're just randomly applying any remote jobs that comes. You just send your CV, and the CV, remember, it's still the same CV you sent for company A to company B to company C, all the way to company Z. So if you're applying without strategy, these things will show, because they will look at what you're applying for and who you are as a person. So are you networking? Are they able to see a trail of your networking, activities online? For example, you're commenting on the industry leaders of the company maybe that you want to apply for. So maybe you are also applying for every industry. You are applying to beauty industry, oil and gas, and then a little while later you are applying to electricity companies, then to real estate companies. I would suggest that you tailor make your applications to one specific industry at a time. So for example, you want to deal with B&Bs. Can you focus on B&Bs for some time? And then once you gather some experience, you can start branching out. And then if it's, for example, you are you are very well suited for as an e-commerce social media strategist. Don't go starting your strategy right now. If you have experience in e-commerce social media strategy, maybe stick to e-commerce. So stick to drop shipping, Amazon, those things, eBay, Alibaba. So you can stick around the same area before, so that you can actually specialize before branching out, because there's a niche in every profession. There's a niche. So for example, in social media, there are people who have curated the best social media content for finance and investments. But when you take them to curate social media content for beauty and makeup, they tend not to do well, because they are trying to use the same tricks in finance and investments for beauty and skincare, which may not work. So how about you strategize and know your social media strategy, your application strategy? Which companies are you able to shine more in? Because remember, they are not short of talent. It's just that they want to give an opportunity outside, and because they believe there's talent all over the world, and more so they can save on costs. So if you are able to showcase your clear experience in a specific niche or company or industry, then they will opt for you more than they will opt for a general kind of practitioner. For example, you've seen in job applications or in job descriptions, they say experience with Hub. Let's say there's an application called Hub or a system called Hub. Experience with Hub is a plus. So who are the people who will stand out in this application? It's those people who have experience with Hub. So that's why I'm saying, if you've started your career or company or everything, maybe with Meta Suite, the ad aspect of Facebook. If you are so good at Google ads and maybe Facebook ads, this will stand out when you're doing an application. So if you're applying for a job, for example, look out for those keywords. Do they need someone who has the experience in Facebook, Meta ads, and Google ads? Then you will stand out for sure. But if you are generally just applying and your kind of experience maybe is in WhatsApp ads, then it may not put you in the best position. But if you find a job that wants specialization in WhatsApp ads, then you will stand out as a good person for that job. So I think this video comes to an end here. Let me know what you think. If there's any part that you need clarification on, let me know. And I hope you learned something. And because I really care for you, I would like you to subscribe, like, share, so that we can see how you can land remote roles as an African, because you are qualified, you are experienced, you have the certifications. You just need to position yourself in a situation whereby you can land that job. And these are the things that we are talking about. So like, share, comment, subscribe. See you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.